What's going on, my friends? Who here is super excited about the upcoming Invicta cruise? Before I get your hopes up, no, it has not been officially announced yet, but I'm hoping and praying that they release some kind of news that 2023 is going to be the year for the next cruise. Number one, because cruises are freaking awesome, but also I just cannot wait to meet the Invicta family from Trap Vision 3D's channel and Tommy Big Time and so on and so forth. And speaking about the cruise, today we're going to take a look at two watches that I got specifically for the cruise, but also just because they're awesome. But we're taking a look at the Invicta Gladiator. These two watches, in my personal opinion, represent everything about watch collecting that I think is the best. You know, super fun, shameless fun, all about having a good time, all about being unique, interesting, and eye-catching. So without further ado, let's get right into it. Starting off with dimensions, the Gladiator is advertised online as a 55.25 millimeter watch. For me, I got 51.3 from just the bezel, and then if we go from the crown to the outer edge, that goes up to 62 millimeters. For case thickness, that's 19.2 millimeters, and a lug to lug, I measured from the chain anchor points and I ended up getting 60 millimeters lug to lug. And then for overall weight, size for my wrist, that came out to 371 grams or 13 ounces. So there is no avoiding it. I mean, this is a hefty, chunky, large watch. But I mean, for any of you that are fans of Invicta, you already knew this, and you know, this should be no surprise to you. But to that end, despite its size, it is a very ergonomic watch, and when sized properly, it can sit on the wrist for the entirety of the day with not too many issues. You know, if it's a super hot day, you might get a little bit uncomfortable, but you know, for what I use it for, it has been perfectly fine. As far as price goes, you're looking at around, you know, $250 up to $400, depending on where you're shopping. You know, Shop HQ has their price, Invicta Stores has their price, and then somewhere in the middle, you've got discounts and coupon codes. So long story short, just be patient. You know, if it's on the upper $400 price range, just wait a little bit. Maybe even reach out to some of the community members and someone might be willing to sell it at a fairly significant discount. But regardless of whatever you're spending, what you're getting is a stainless steel watch with 200 meters of water resistance and an automatic movement, which is the recipe for an absolute beast of a watch. So in my opinion, if this is the kind of watch that you like, there's definitely a lot of value with what you're getting. But with those details out of the way, let's go ahead and take a closer look and get on with the rest of the review. So let's go ahead and do a quick 360 out on this beautiful day, just so you can get a good idea of what this thing looks like in different angles of light. And I gotta tell you, I know that this is not gonna be a popular opinion, but I think these watches are absolutely gorgeous. The one I'm holding right now is the two-tone. So you've got the main color is gold, and then the accenting color is the silver tone chains with the blue Abalone dial. And I've also got the more of a flat gunmetal main color with the rose tone chains. And this one, I purchased this one second because I didn't know that this colorway existed, but as soon as I saw it, I could not stop thinking about it. And that's just how it goes sometimes. You know, you see a watch and it just bugs you. It sits in the back of your head and you cannot stop thinking about it. And that was the case with this one. So I was going to buy this one and return the other one, but then I held both in my hands like so, and I just had this epiphany that these watches are way too fun, and in this case I just had to own both of them. Now let's do an overview of the watch itself. So starting off with the dial, as you can see, you've got the Abalone dial there, this one with blue And then this one is more of like a purple, green, turquoise-ish abalone or abalone. And both of them are beautiful. I prefer this one because it's got more colors, and I think it pairs really good with the overall color scheme. But again, both dials are absolutely gorgeous. You've got your typical dive style indices here, and of course this is not designed to be actually used as a dive watch. So to that end, you know, visibility and quick acquisition of time is not really its forte, but as it is, you know, I think it's perfectly fine. I think it does what it needs to do based on the purpose that it was intended for. For the internals, we do have a NH35, so that does come with the date complication, and we do have a display caseback or open caseback showing you that famous Invicta yellow rotor. We do have lume applied to the indices and the hands. It's not Tritonite. I cannot remember off the top of my head what it was, but I'll put it on the screen there for you in post editing. On top of the dial, we do have the Flame Fusion crystal. In my opinion, that's sort of just a gimmicky name. I wish they'd just call it what it is, or scrap the Flame Fusion and just start implementing Sapphire. But again, just my opinion. How it stands, Flame Fusion is perfectly fine. I've never had any issues with it. Outside of the crystal, we do have a 120 click unidirectional bezel. It lines up just fine on both Gladiators that I own. And as far as back play, it is slim to none, so a very solid bezel. Another very cool thing about the bezel is we do have lume applied in between each of the 10-minute markers. So another, you know, unnecessary touch that they added, and I think it's very cool. Inside of the bezel, you can see that they have that chain design that I think complements the overall chain, I guess, what's the word, motif or style, aesthetic, whatever it is. I think it pairs very well. It sort of ties everything together, and I appreciate that they did that. Moving on to the side, we do have a screw down crown. I don't know if I was just lucky or if this was intentional, but on both of my Gladiators, fully screwed in, the crowns line up perfectly in that cross formation. The threading is very good, and it's easy to access based on the design of it or how it was machined. And then also operating it is very smooth. I've had no issues with it. And something that's kind of cool is if you just put your finger on one of these, I guess, carved out things, you can just sort of use it as a handle to quickly wind up your movement. Moving to the back, we can take a look at that case back. We do have a screw down case back, and you also have a chain design engraved into the case back, continuing the overall chain aesthetic. And again, I think that's very cool. It's, you know, it's over the top, but in such a beautiful way and in such a fun way. And so, you know, whoever did this was just having a blast designing it, and that is something that is so rare in watch designs today. And let's go ahead and take a look at the case back on the other Gladiator, which it is the same, but just so you can see. And for the bracelet, so it's kind of weird. When you go on the upper half, or the portion of the bracelet that attaches to the case, the main portion, the bracelet that actually matters. So like this right here, these chains on the side, they are just decorative. They don't really functionally do anything. So the main links, they're very thin. And it creates the illusion of a very thick bracelet because of these chain links. But in reality, the top part is just very thin. And again, I understand why they did that, but it's just something you should know. And of course, on the bottom half, it does widen out to your standard oyster style bracelet links. And the adjustment system is your cotter pin, so very easy to size on your own, very minimal levels of skill. And even if you've never done it before, you'll figure it out immediately once you start doing it. We do have a hook deployant clasp, so not ideal, but it works just fine. And for the deploying portion, it is milled steel, so very good. I like that. You know, a lot of people will prefer this style just because it looks better, it looks more professional, and in this case I think it looks really good with the Gladiator. And then another great thing, you've got the 5 micro adjustable positions, which is fantastic. And again, just for reference, so you can see what the two-tone version looks like, here you go. One thing I really like about both of these is the safety clasp here. I just like the fact that they have Invicta right here, and then you've got the Invicta logo with a different colored safety tab. You know, it's something that's not really necessary, but they did it anyways, and I think it just sort of ties everything together. For the finishing, the main portion of the bracelet and case is going to be a brushed and flat finish. So you've got brushed here, and then on the top of the bezel, it's more of like a flat finish. But I really like that because the accenting colors, like the chains and then the numbers on the bezel, those are more of like a chrome mirror polish. So you get this wonderful hybrid of flat, brushed, and polished, or mirror polished, and it creates a beautiful aesthetic. You know, it plays with the light very well. It's not too much, it's not too in your face, while at the same time still looking very good. And same thing for the rose tone version. You know, you've got the flat on top, brushed on the side, with also the mirror polished highlights that really just accentuate and support the main body of the case. And so that pretty much wraps up the review for the Gladiators. I had such a good time with these watches ever since I got them out of the box. And like I said before, these watches really do represent everything that I am about, which is shameless fun, having something unique, and wearing something eye-catching. I really don't want to focus on any of the possible negative attention or negative opinions that there may be about it.
Your booze mean nothing. I've seen what makes you cheer.
Because I've heard it all before, and there's no point wasting any energy on those types of things. All I can tell you is, for me personally, I had a blast. I absolutely love these watches, and I definitely recommend them if this is something that you've been interested in. Other than that, I'm really hoping and praying that I'll be able to wear these watches out on the high seas with the rest of you watching this. Hopefully we'll find out something soon, and hopefully by next February, we will all be having a drink, breaking some bread, and just having a really good time on a cruise. I hope you guys enjoyed today's review. I had a blast making it, and make sure to join any of my other groups on Facebook, Discord, Instagram, and I'll catch you guys on the next episode. Bye.